bright young students from government schools around Bengaluru. Today they're going to get a chance to meet a very special person, someone who, like them, was at a government school in Karnataka. Now, he made a name for himself not just in Karnataka, not just in India, but around the world. He started a rather famous company along with a group of friends, and he's changed the way, in many ways, people look at Bengaluru, at Karnataka and at India. And he's going to be talking to the children about what helped him get ahead. Mr. Murthy, at this fabulous Infosys campus, you welcomed heads of states, VIPs as we understand the term, all kinds of interesting people have been here. Today, some very, very special youngsters, children from government schools. Are you nervous about meeting them? Excited?
I'm not nervous, but I'm very excited because in some way they are VVIPs.
Yes.
If India has to have a good future, then we have to ensure that they become strong mentally and physically. So therefore, these youngsters are very, very important people.
Absolutely. And for many of them, the schools just don't live up to what they should be getting. These kind of inadequate schools which they go, what kind of effect will it have on their health, on their interaction with society, on their education itself?
Well, you know, we all live on hope. Hope for a better future, hope for better prosperity, hope for better quality of life for us and for our children. If you do not provide a good quality education to children, then you are reducing the span of hope that they can have. And if you reduce that span of hope they can have, then you're taking away from them their optimism about the future, you're taking away from them their energy, and therefore, in essence, we are losing their contribution. And if they don't contribute, then there's no way India can become better. So it's very, very important that they don't lose their confidence, they don't lose their enthusiasm, and that their hope is alive.
Which can all be given at a good school if they get good education, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
There is no doubt about it. Education is the most important instrument, of course, along with health,
Yes.
because without health you can't even go to school, right? So health and education are the two most important ingredients for building up our children to become worthy warriors in creating a great India.
Okay. Now, CSR, it's now compulsory for many corporates to actually contribute a certain amount of funding towards socially responsible activities. How do you feel this could be targeted towards schools to actually help with the education of our youngsters?
Well, you know, CSR, which happens to be, CSR funding, which
Yes.
happens to be about 2% of the net income of a corporation, can play a role in providing some help to schools. But I think there's a more important issue, and that is, unless we improve the public governance system of education, I don't think you will be able to solve the problems of India, because these are huge.
Yes.
We have so many primary schools in the country that it is so difficult for CSR activities to cover.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I am quite happy if the government were to collect 2% more tax from corporations and then say that this money will be utilized for creating a better primary education system.
Yes.
That to me is worth
Absolutely.
spending that 2% extra, rather than leaving that responsibility to CSR and to
Okay.
corporations. I would rather our political leadership and our bureaucracy take bottom line responsibility
All right.
for improving our education system,
So
particularly the primary one.
you'd be ready for even for increased funding under
Oh,
the heading of CSR, but the
absolutely.
government should actually take responsibility for how it is spent, for directing it
Yeah.
into the right way.
Yeah, making
Okay.
sure that it indeed goes to the right schools, making sure that there is a good public
Yes.
governance system, making sure that
Yes.
meritocracy in selection of teachers is adhered to,
Okay.
making sure that children have good nutrition. Certainly,
Yes.
particularly poor children have good nutrition right in the morning with a good breakfast when they reach the school, making sure that the poor children have proper lunch, that they're given textbooks, and that teachers attend the schools. As you know, one of a Harvard study showed that somewhere around 30% of the schools don't have teachers and about 50% of the teachers don't attend. So all those things have to be addressed if
Absolutely.
you want good education.
It's not just about providing funds for infrastructure, it goes beyond that really.
Yeah,
That is what
yeah.
is required.
Yeah, yeah.
The Support My Schools campaign which we're having, any suggestions you would have really to make it more targeted, to try and make it even better and have a better impact?
Well, I would say that at this point in time, 3 R's are our basic necessity. I believe Azim is doing that through his university. I believe Nandan is starting X step for achieving that. But we must realize that these are all important activities, but they are not sufficient. While they are necessary, they are not sufficient. The sufficiency comes from the state governments and the central government taking bottom line responsibility
Okay,
for making sure that those schools have a good governance system.
Ultimately the buck stops with the government.
It
The
has to.
corporates can help, but
it
they can't.
has to,
Yes.
because primary school education is really a common good. So therefore it has to.
You have, of course, a million things to do, but you have taken time to actually come and talk to us about this. Personally, why do you feel that you needed to be a part of this, that you could actually raise your voice here?
A civilized society is one where every individual contributes whatever he or she can to the public good, so that the next generation is in some way better than the current generation. That's what a civilized society is. Therefore, you and I, wanting to be part of a civilized society, have a responsibility to add whatever little value we can to this cause. That's the reason why I presume both you and I are interested in this.
Your primary school, you didn't go to any great big fancy international private school.
No.
Your primary school was very different, wasn't
It was a
it?
government school.
Yes.
I am very, very grateful to the government of Mysore at that time, because we had excellent teachers. We had, whatever little facilities that we wanted, and we learned a lot in school. A good sense of discipline, a good sense of high aspirations, a good sense of hard work, all of that. That happened only because of my teachers in primary and secondary schools.
And I'm sure it's an inspiration really to all the children that from a simple government school, you have managed to achieve all this. And I'm
It
sure
is absolutely possible.
absolutely possible. I think you've shown
Provided
that
you
way.
have good teachers.
Teachers, yes,
That is
because it's
the
not
key.
just about the infrastructure, it's about
Yeah.
the quality of education, the
Oh,
quality of teachers.
absolutely.
They can make or break a child's...
Because children are looking for role models, and such good teachers will indeed serve as very good role models.
Absolutely. Now, the children are excitedly waiting to meet you. So
I am excited
let's
too.
head on.
Yeah. The first responsibility that the society has is to create a good quality primary and secondary school education, so that every one of our children learn the 3 R's, every one of them are literate enough to add value to the society and to themselves. So unless we do this, we may regret about the so-called demographic dividend that we all talk about, and it may turn out to be a demographic deficit.
सूरज सा चमके